Hello, I am Garrett Godfrey, and welcome to Crowdfunding Christian Music Podcast. I have been helping folks find great Christian music for over 25 years, and on this show, I cover active crowdfunding and pre-order campaigns for artists worth backing and believing in so that you can find and fund the music you love. This is episode 66, recorded Wednesday, October 12th of 2016. Think of me maybe as your tour guide as we look at some current campaigns by Folly, Tommie Billups, Bethany Barnard, Maria Roate, Mark J. the Poet, Mavis Pan, Michael Anderson, The Broken Records Reunion, and Demon Hunter. I hope you really enjoy the show and find something you can get behind and support. Okay, before we get into the campaigns, I know your time is valuable, and I really appreciate spending some of your time with me. To make things easier to find, I put links to everything we cover in the show notes, and in case you want to go back to a specific campaign and listen again or skip around, I've got the timestamps for all those campaigns and music genres in the show notes too, so I hope that helps. On to the campaigns. First up are Folly, an Americana band out of Georgia, with a Kickstarter campaign for a more potluck-styled album to be titled I Have Seen the End. They promise to have a more funky sound with funk, hip-hop, classical, folk, rock, all meshed together. Let's hear what they have to say about it on their campaign video.
Folly started about 8 years ago, I guess. Started at Bryan College in Dayton, Tennessee. Our sound has changed, band members have changed, our location has changed, but here at the last stretch, standing next to Jesse, playing off of each other, that's something that hasn't changed.
We find ourselves here in 2016 making sort of a farewell album.
This album means a lot to me personally because it's our last one.
A lot of these tracks that we're laying down are stories that have been written in specific places for specific reasons for specific people.
This album is the music I worked on when I got engaged and married, and now we're expecting our first child. So there's a lot of growing up that happened while we were working on this album.
We've always tried to address issues in the church as we see them, things we want to change for the cause of the kingdom of God. These songs are a lot about the hurt that comes with our sanctification.
But I'm not as wise as I suspect I am. God knows how pride.
Folly's music, I think, has traditionally been in an Americana vein. This new album is much more funky.
Now, it's actually very different from how it was, I think, when I first heard them.
They're like a potluck, you know? Like a potluck. Seriously, you know, you do have funk and hip-hop and classical and then folk and, you know, rock.
This is new Folly, and this is the new lineup, and this is the first real album where we've all kind of worked together as a band.
We've always wanted to live track an album.
This is the control room right here. This is behind the curtain, and Patrick Anderson is the wizard.
Recording live is incredibly exciting and really challenging.
Because you might have a great take, but then the guy down there, he might have not so great a take, and it ends up not being usable because it's all together. But it's also worth it because when everybody is on, you get the experience of feeling a moment.
And we're getting the best takes that we've ever gotten.
Hot days are numbered like the open road.
I think the result is going to be phenomenal. It's going to have a lot of energy and a lot of power. There's a lot of good tracks on here. I think you'll like it a lot.
All the money that we collect on this Kickstarter is going to be going to pretty much just paying our debts of making the album.
So we have engineers helping us track the record.
Our mixer, the person who masters the album.
We have to make CDs for everybody.
And if we're lucky, this time we'll get some bumper stickers.
All the fans of Folly in the last 8 years, y'all have been so great, so generous. We really couldn't have done any of this without you. In a very honest sense, we couldn't have. And y'all have made it possible. It's been a huge deal to me, personally, and to the other guys. I know it has. So, thank you.
but I'm not as wise as I suspect I am.
Now, their campaign goal is $4,600, and they had a short campaign window. I think it was maybe like 14 or 15 days. They already have over $2,600 pledged, but they have $2,000 more they need in the next 65 hours as of this recording. 64 hours, actually. And they have campaign closes Saturday, October 15th at 6 p.m. Mountain. $10 gets you the download version of the album, $15 for the CD and download, $55 gets you the super limited double LP vinyl edition, and I believe those are hand-lathed. And then there are more reward levels available, but act fast if it's not actually already too late. But you can also head over to Bandcamp and get a previous album, Great Commoner, for name your price. So if you missed this window, head over to Bandcamp, look for Brock's Folly, and pick up their music there as well. The links will be in the show notes. Next up is Tommie Billups, a singer-songwriter out of Michigan with a Kickstarter campaign with an $800 goal to raise funds for a video for his new single, Sleepers. But the $15 reward is for a new 8 to 12 song album, The Light, that he expects to release in June of 2017. He has a SoundCloud page with a lot of his songs, so I want to play a couple clips just so you get an idea of what he sounds like. First is a track, All Things. Here's a bit of that.
He's already made a way. See, I can do all things. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. I can do all things. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me.
And I've got a little clip of his song Hope as well off that same SoundCloud page.
Hope for tomorrow. Hope for tomorrow. Hope for tomorrow. Said you gotta hope for tomorrow. Hope for tomorrow. Hope for tomorrow. Hope for tomorrow. So I'll hope through the night. Hope for my dream. Hope for the light my destiny give. Hope through these streets. Hope will I sing to you.
His campaign goal is $800, and he's almost there with just $110 to go. He's got 9 days left. This campaign closes Saturday, October 22nd. $15 gets you that new album expected to be done next summer. And then there are some other reward levels too, so be sure to check it out. Next up is an artist that you may already know more by her maiden name, Bethany Dillon, now Bethany Barnard, after marrying Shane Barnard of Shane & Shane. She'd been around in the CCM scene a while back, but then took a hiatus when she got married and had kids. As she says, 8 years later, 3 kids later, no record label later, she's back with a Kickstarter campaign for a new album. Here's a clip of one of the songs for the new album from her campaign video.
Yes, we are holding on to him as he is holding on to our covenant. Oh, we can feel the ache. His sovereign hand turns the page. What was easy to say is now staring us down. Is it till death do us part, or till a change of heart? Feelings go so far, but where are we when they're gone? We are holding on.
Her campaign goal was $20,000. She has already surpassed that. She's just shy of 22,000, excuse me, with 2 weeks still to go. This campaign closes Wednesday, October 26th. $10 gets you a download version of the album. $15 gets the download version of the album and a 4-song EP that she made back in 2012. $25 gets you all of that plus your signed CD. $50 throws in a shirt, so be sure to check it out. Next up is another artist with a fully funded campaign. Maria Roate, a singer-songwriter and worship leader in Evansville, Indiana, has a Kickstarter campaign for a new debut 5-song EP. Let's hear a bit about her from her campaign video so you know what she sounds like.
You were never meant to stay in the dark. You're a child of light. Go and tell the world you've been made new. 'Cause someone told you so you could sing redemption song, so you could dance with joy, so you could tell hope has come and that stories should be told.
Hi, I'm Maria Roate, and I want to make my first EP with your help. I'm using Kickstarter to raise $25,000 in 30 days. But there's a catch. If we don't raise the whole $25,000 in 30 days, we don't get any of it. We have reward tiers beginning at $15.
Now, she mentioned if it's all or nothing. Well, as it turns out, her $25,000 goal has been surpassed. She's almost at $26,000 right now. She's still got 2 weeks left to go. This campaign closes Thursday, October 27th. $15 gets you an immediate download of her single, Never Told. That's the song you heard in the video. And the download version of the EP 1 week early. $25 gets you that plus a signed CD. Then there are more reward options available like shirts and bracelets and lyric prints and jewelry. So be sure to check that out. Next up is Mark the Poet out of Sacramento, California, with a Kickstarter campaign for a spoken word and music album. Now here's a clip of his spoken word piece, Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, from his YouTube channel.
The greatest minds through history are all the same color. Our brains, our hearts, all the same color. The best-selling book says there's neither Jew nor Gentile. It's like we're all coffee. Nothing wrong with a different brew. White, light, dark mix, we're all the real deal, dude. Paint me black, red, or blue, I breathe in and out just like you do. If we want to prove hashtag all lives matter, we need to prove black ones do. You're African Americans. I'm sorry, I've been nothing more than a bystander. I've used the excuse that the news is always bad news, so I won't watch it. But if I don't watch it, how can I know how to help it? If I felt demeaned for my ethnicity, I'd be angry too. If one race says I can't breathe, we're all suffocating.
Wow. So his campaign goal is $8,000. He's almost at $2,500 with over 2 weeks to go. This campaign closes Sunday, October 30th. $25 gets you an early copy of the full CD and a dog tag lyric sheet and early download of his new single. And then there are more reward levels available, including shirts, Google Hangouts, and some other things there. So be sure to check that out. Next up is Mavis Pan out of Brooklyn with a Kickstarter campaign for a CD of solo piano jazz improvisations of hymns to be titled Not Alone. Here's a clip from her campaign video.
This album is called Not Alone. Although I'm playing piano alone, I always imagine myself as Mary pouring the expensive perfume on Jesus' feet and caressing the keys with my tears. I pour out my heart and my soul, my hurt and my pain. and everything that I am while worshiping at the feet of Jesus. And while the jar of perfume was broken, the people were all blessed by the sweet fragrance that filled the entire room. The life of a composer and singer woman can be tough and lonely sometimes. But I have a loving Savior who is constantly watching over me and listening to my playing. Not Alone is an album of love, celebrating my intimate relationship with Him. I would like to invite you to join me on this project. I hope you will be blessed and smell the sweet aroma while you listen to my music. Art is an expensive perfume when it comes to production and distribution. So I hope you can help me produce a top quality scent to our Savior by supporting me on this project financially and prayerfully.
Her campaign goal was $4,000, and she has already surpassed that and is almost $6,000. With over 2 weeks left to go, this campaign closes Monday, October 31st. $25 gets you a copy of the CD, and then there are more reward levels available, including autographed CDs, art, tickets to a release party, a DVD of clips from the recording session, and more. So be sure to check it out. Next up is Michael Anderson, a composer and piano performer out of North Carolina, with a Kickstarter campaign for a piano album to be titled Breakfast Time. He received his master's in composition from North Carolina School of the Arts and currently works as the composer in residence at Redeemer Presbyterian Church in Winston-Salem. He says about this album, "The songs I write for breakfast time are about waking up to a new day and refreshing ourselves with God's creation. It's about reviving ourselves, not just with good food and drink, but with the peace of Christ which surpasses all understanding." Here's a clip from the song Morning from his website. And it's actually on the campaign page. It's the track Morning. Here's the clip from his website. His campaign goal is $1,300. He's over halfway there with over 2 weeks left. This campaign closes Monday, October 31st. Now, I confess I find his reward levels a bit confusing. It appears that you can get his previous CD, Portrait of Youth, as an option, and other options include 1 or 2 tracks from Breakfast Time, but I can't seem to find one reward tier with the new album in its entirety on it. So I've used the contact button up at the top to ask for more info, so I will update you in the next episode with whatever I hear back. Meanwhile, check out the campaign page for yourself, and I'll also update the show notes. Next up, are Take Two Productions with a Kickstarter campaign for a DVD set for the Broken Reunion concert. Now, for some background, back in the mid-'80s, there was a great indie label that started up named Broken Records, and they signed Undercover and the Altar Boys and Crumbacher and the Choir. Back then it was Youth Choir, 441, and a bunch of other bands. 20 years later, in 2005, there was a reunion concert in Los Angeles featuring 3.5 hours of music by these 5 bands: Undercover, Crumbacher, The Choir, The Altar Boys, and 441. Now, 11 years after that, they've started a Kickstarter campaign to put out DVDs of that event. If you were a fan back then, or if you've just always wondered about the early roots of Christian punk, alternative, and new wave, you really owe it to yourself to check this out. The campaign goal is $45,000, and they've almost reached $9,000 with 3 weeks left to go. This campaign closes Friday, November 4th. $30 gets you the double DVD with over 4 hours of content, and then there are all these other options, including shirts, photo books, and more. So be sure to check that out. Next up is Demon Hunter, a metal band out of Seattle, with a pledge music campaign for a new album to be titled Outlive, expected to ship out spring of 2017. Their campaign page does have a short teaser, so here that is, so you can take a listen to that. Now, pledge music doesn't actually show you the goal, but it does tell you that they're 65% there with 32 days left. So this closes November 15th. For $10, you get the Access Pass, which is the download of the album in FLAC and MP3, and access to all the behind-the-scenes updates. For $12, you get the Access Pass and the CD. For $22, that CD is signed by the band. Or you can get the album on vinyl, and then there are all kinds of other items, including shirts, hoodies, posters, box sets with bonus songs, and more. So if you're into metal, like Demon Hunter, be sure to check that out. Next up is a bit of a preview. A gourmet music podcast I'm a fan of, Under the Radar, is launching a Kickstarter campaign tomorrow morning, Thursday. By the time you hear this, it'll already be live, but it hasn't launched yet for me to show you the page. But here's what I can tell you. They're launching the campaign to fund a 2017 creative relaunch of Under the Radar. The host, Dave Trout, has already revealed that they'll be discontinuing the radio show portion of what UTR does, but also let folks know that they'll be working on a new website, increased video productions, and more. While I don't know what the total goal is yet, here are some of the reward tiers that they have leaked on their blog. For $20, you get a 1-week early preview download of all 5 exclusive multi-artist compilation albums they'll be putting out in 2017, an early look at their first relaunch video, and an unreleased recording of an hour interview with several artists. $30 gets you all of that and 40 different tracks donated by 40 different artists. $50 gets you all of that, plus downloads of 4 exclusive live concerts by Ginny Owens, Matt Brower, Joy, Ike, and the Vespers. $70 gets you all of that, plus live albums, including Sarah Groves, Andrew Peterson, Burlap Cashmere, Christopher Williams, and Eric Peters. Then there are all these other reward levels, including 5 hours of live audio about songwriting, 14 full-length albums, a flash drive with all 360 episodes of the radio show, private Skype concerts, and more. So be sure to check it out. I will update the show notes with the links as soon as it launches, or you should be able to just head over to Kickstarter and search for Under the Radar. The campaign should be up for 30 days, so I'd expect it to close November 12th. Also, you can head over to Noise Trade and check out some of their multi-artist multi-artist albums they've been putting out over there as well, and get a feel for what they're all about. And I would like to apologize for the long gap here between episode 65 and 66. I just have been buried at work and things have been crazy busy. My goal has always been to make this a weekly show, and while I highly value the consistency of a weekly schedule, my family and job come first. I do have some ideas, though, of ways to get better communication going around sharing these campaigns with you beyond just the podcast. So stay tuned for more info about that in the near future. That's it for this episode. If you back any of the campaigns, or if you just want to help them spread the word, be sure to let folks know about these campaigns before they close. If this is your first time watching or listening, consider subscribing. That way you don't ever miss an episode. You can head over to the website, crowdfundingchristianmusic.com, click on the subscribe button. It'll help you out. It'll help you find how and where to subscribe, whether it's video or audio, whether you want to do it on YouTube or for Android or for an Apple device. If you've been with the podcast for a while, thank you. For you, I have a different request. Share the podcast with someone you know that you think might get into it. And if you want to ask me a question, send me feedback, or tell me about a campaign, you can reach me a couple different ways. Pick the one that's easiest for you. You can head over to the Facebook page for the podcast, like it, and message me, or you could follow at the other CCM on Twitter and shoot me a tweet, or you can email me, feedback@crowdfundingchristianmusic.com. I'd love to hear from you. If you like the theme song at the beginning of the show, it's Hypostatic Union by the X Structure out of South Africa. All of their music is Name Your Price over at Bandcamp right now, so be sure to check them out. I am Garrett Godfrey, and I want you to keep coming back. There's new stuff to cover all the time. In fact, if you want a sneak peek, head over to the Coming Soon page over on the podcast website, crowdfundingchristianmusic.com, and you will see a sneak peek of all the campaigns currently active, the ones I've covered, and the ones I haven't yet. So if you look, you can see Valerie Snyder and Just Pierre and Gungor. So, maybe we'll be talking about those soon. Until next time, remember, great music doesn't just happen, so get involved.